Roblox, we have a problem.
This new Roblox event is not good. But let me explain, okay? Because this is just my opinion, alright? If you like the event, that is completely...
Roblox just pretty much threw all of these events together and created this abomination of an event. Well, in this video, I'm going to explain my opinions on the event
Roblox
and
event
why
is
I think
horrible,
it's
and I'm
pretty
not gonna lie,
bad.
this is probably one of the worst
And
Roblox events we've ever had. And the reason is actually because you can literally just see it right here. There's literally over a 73% dislike.
I would
ratio,
rather
which
do
is
the
very
classic
insane.
and the hunt again versus doing this one again. That's simply how bad it is.
I'm going to be going through everything good and bad with the game's Roblox event. And I'll have a point system on the screen. Right here is all the good. Right here is all the bad. Alright, let's get started. So first, we're going to start with the event branding. The event is supposed to be based off of sports and the Olympics because the timing is around the same time as the Olympics. It's called the Games. There's a lot of sports games in the event. You guys get it. The idea is alright, but the branding feels very flat. Like, look at this logo, man. The Games. This sucks. It's just really disappointing. It's not memorable in any way, shape, or form. And with this, I mean, it is called the game, so it's pretty open-ended, but I feel like there's a lot of games in the games that aren't even sports related. How does Adopt Me and Watermelon Go relate to a sports themed event? No hate towards either of those two games, but I'm just curious. I really want to talk about the teams. Teams, very good idea. I think we should have more teams in the future. I think having YouTubers as leaders for teams was also a good idea. However, okay, so I was gonna go on a rant about how the teams were concentrated at the top with two teams, the red team and the green team. However, it's now the end of the event and the grand prize didn't really matter that much. If you were on the winning team, you would get a grand prize for free, but you can just get the grand prize anyways if you get 550 silver, which isn't a ton, but it's not like an insignificant amount. But that's more of a problem for something else I'm gonna talk about down the line. We'll give a good point to the team's idea, a good point to the YouTubers, and one last point to talk on about the teams. I think the branding of the teams are fine. They're great. One thing I don't like though, yeah, hello Team Giant Feet. Roblox, why did you make a team called Team Giant Feet? I do have to say, it is hilarious though. All right, I'm gonna touch on the hub for a bit. I don't have many complaints. I love that the helper bot is still hanging around. They were also in the Innovation Awards. Very cute info NPC that stayed around from the classic. There's a lot of Roblox cube tilts or whatever they call them. The hub is actually very pretty. I love the aesthetic. I think it's really nice. I think it's very well built. I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of the activities. I think they could have done a little more with them. I'm sure if they were given a little bit more time, they could have made something more fun or more nice. But honestly, I don't have a complaint with the lobby. I think they did a good job. I'm gonna include this part with the hub discussion. I think the whole thing with 1x, 1x, 1x1 is great. I like that they're leaning into the storyline and this like overarching connection between events. I think that's great. I think the map for the 1x, 1x1 fight was good, as with the rest of the lobby. The boss fight was alright. I'm pretty sure, I mean, I ended up using all the different tools to complete the fight, but I mean, you don't need to. But honestly, it was pretty decent fun, and it required a lot of teamwork from everyone that was in the game. It wasn't too difficult. Anyone could get it. It was a good time. It was great. All right, time to talk about the prizes. The initial reward for playing is a cape of the team that you joined, which is not that bad. And you get this team t-shirt. If you go buy it from your team, I'm not too sure. So there are 6 prizes you get for getting silver. To max out all the items, you need to get 370 silver, which actually really does not take that much time to get. It's only a few games because you get 60 silver for completing the 3 quests per game, which I'll get into very soon. So the prizes are all layered clothing or like accessories that are just okay. And I don't think the shiny versions of these are much better. They either have a little bit more color or they're a little darker. So like, I don't know, it's not that good. It is not worth paying 600 Robux or buying the legendary Sky Champion, which actually, let's talk about the legendary Sky Champion. This thing does not look that good. I want to know how many people are buying this thing. It's a guy with a stupid looking jersey and some wings. The bundle is pretty mid, I'm not gonna lie. And these limited time items They're actually not that bad. I think the surfboard is pretty cool, and the laurel is also pretty nice. Not the biggest fan of these pants, but I mean, someone will enjoy them, so whatever, man. But now it's time to get into the meat and potatoes of the games. It's the games. So the way this event works is simple. There are 3 quests for silver for each game, and there's 50 games in total. There's also 5 more badges for shines for each game, and shines let you unlock tools in the hub so that you can complete quests there. But the gist of it all is that there's 400 total badges across all 50 games, and there's 3 quests for the silver for each game, which is the real thing that matters. There are 150 quests in total if you want to 100% this event. This makes the games so much more grindy than any other event. More grindy than the hunt, more grindy than the classic, which was not very grindy at all. There are some quests that are broken, some quests that are just like entirely too difficult. It is really frustrating. But let's go through some of these games, right? Let's go through all of the games. Out of these 50 games, how many of them are actually related to sports? I counted 25. The other half are just like whatever other games they wanted to throw in there. Now, I understand this because not everyone's going to be drawn to an event that's just sports themed. So you gotta include some games in there like tongue battles or Robeats or Adopt Me. Maybe toss in a pool of the sword and a pet catchers. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do for every single game in the games. I'm gonna put each game in one of 3 categories. The 3 categories are made something special, added a small minigame or a new map, and the last category is pretty much made you play the game with little additions. I'll be making a big tier list from S to F, and also a broken category because there's some games in the event that did not freaking work. To make it brief, I'm only going to explain my thoughts in maybe 1 or 2 sentences. Although they may not be thorough, I want to make this section sort of concise. So without further ado, let's get started with the special category. First off is Arm Wrestle Simulator. They added an entire unique section of the game that wasn't related to the game in any capacity, but it was related to the theme, it was fun, it was colorful, it was enjoyable, and it was playable for everyone, and I think that deserves S tier. I think they did an amazing job. Arsenal did something extremely special. They added an entire new game mode and function, a rogue-inspired game mode that's funny, impressive, just plays incredibly well. I love it. Arsenal, you were the best. You go an S tier. I have never heard of Michael's Zombies before the games, but they added what seems to be an entire new map with a bunch of mini games, of incredible attention to detail, implemented their game features, and I'm a little biased because one of my friends helped with the event. Shouts to Ashcraft. But if I'm gonna be so real, it was incredibly fun and it is insanely impressive. S tier. Untitled Boxing Game is a game I've already covered on this channel and a game that I enjoy thoroughly. And they added bosses and opponents you can play against with pretty freaking good AIs, fully animated cutscenes, and recognizable characters. I think that they did amazing. However, they lose a grade because the difficulty is way too high for an event like this, and kids are not 100%ing this game, I'm not gonna lie. Next up is the games that added just a small minigame or a new map here and there, but still did enough where they didn't do nothing, okay? First off is Adopt Me. They added 3 short mini games. They're pretty basic, not super fun, C tier. Beast Wars Simulator, I was sort of disappointed with. They added some quests and you can hit a soccer ball or a golf ball or whatever it is. It wasn't very interesting, wasn't too fun. C tier. I do not like Blade Ball personally. The quests are never fun for these events. The boss mechanic was recycled, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but it was extremely easy. It was way easier than any of the other quests for the event in Blade Ball, so I'm gonna put it in D tier. I'm gonna go on a little longer for Boxing League. If I didn't put Boxing League in F tier, it would be in broken tier. Matches were broken about 80% of the time, and I'd have to server hop so many times just to find one that worked. The quests were to deal damage, win a couple duo matches, and win a 5-man brawl match. But I couldn't even finish the last one because not enough people could do it because it's tucked away in the back corner in such a bad spot, and most of the people didn't even freaking know how to get into it, and it was broken most of the time. F tier. Awful. Dress to Impress only added a couple minigames, but the obby wasn't too bad, and the swimming minigame was great in my opinion. It reminds me of the Toontown Ring minigame, and I'm super biased. I love Toontown. For me, it loses a grade for the duo quest, and the fact that it wasn't as special as the other 4 in the top tier, but it still makes an A grade. I'm not a huge fan of driving games usually, but Drive World had pretty decent obbies, and the other quests weren't too much trouble. C tier. Driving Empire was pretty bad. They had one short track that was procedurally generated, and you had to do it so many times to get all the silver. I can appreciate the effort that went to building it and adding the procedural generation so it doesn't get an F tier, but man, it is so boring. D tier. Eat the World added a whole new nice looking map, though honestly the quests were a little tedious and long-winded. C tier. I was a little confused on what to do at first for epic minigames, but after I figured it out, the event was kind of fun. I didn't like waiting for certain minigames to randomly appear, and the ones added specifically for the event in the arcade were kind of meh. C tier. Dude, what is this? Funky Friday added an obby that was awful, then they made you play songs that were already in the game, made you win against someone with the preset songs. I don't know, couldn't they do anything cool with like a mod or something? I mean, F tier. Gym League added a new area with some mini games. I'm honestly not too sure if they're entirely new or not, but they integrated it pretty well with the game as a whole. The mini games were also skill based and not based on experience in the game, which is pretty nice and refreshing considering some of the other games in the event. B tier. I do not like RNG in these events. Perfect Housing had a little bit of RNG for finding some of the things in the event, like the boss battle or the flood event. I somehow did not get the flood event once, even though it was 60% odds to get it, and I got the ducky event like 5 times, and I did not have fun. D tier. Obby, but you're on a bike has had something wrong with it every single event so far. They added a new map, but one of the quests was just broken for most of the event for me. I did end up completing all of them, but for most of the time, the time trial quest and the event map did not work. Broken tier. I hate to put pet catchers in this tier, but the minigames were not very fun. They're pretty basic. Top it off, I couldn't finish the painting quest. It did not work for me. It was broken. So, broken tier. Pool Sword added a new zone, which had interesting and nice looking quests, and the battle with David Bazuki was great. B tier. Shark Bite 2 is already great, but their progression-based tasks were fun and not overly difficult for new players. You first have to damage the shark, then you shoot other players' boats with the boat that you get from beating the first quest. Then you beat the Olympics-based stunts that alternate each round. I had a little bit of trouble with this part as I ran into a problem of event rounds kind of screwing me over and not letting me finish my last quest. But Shark Bite 2 still gets a great score. A tier. Slap battles did way better than I thought they would have. They had a soccer minigame with the slap mechanic, and all the quests were based around the soccer minigame. I think if they did a little more with the soccer game, they could have really ascended, but it's still enjoyable nonetheless. B tier. Alright, now we're getting into the bad part of the event. Most of these just made you play the game and it was not fun. First, we start off with Bad Business. I like Bad Business, but this was really just a waste of time. First off, you have to collect 30 trophies, which are basically just confirmed kills that aren't a guaranteed drop. Then for the next quest, you have to get 20 melee kills with this stupid tennis racket. Then you need 20 more projectile kills with this same tennis racket. I did not have any enjoyment doing this part of the event, aside from sniping people halfway across the map with the tennis racket. D tier. Basketball Legends, you just play the game and do 3 basic quests. D tier. Be NPC or die, you have to do so many things to complete this game's quest, so it's kind of annoying, but at least the lighthouse part is kind of cool. I don't know. D tier. Creatures of Sonaria had way too simple quests. You join a squad or whatever they're called, you fight in the arena for a little bit, and then you grab the shines. I mean, at least you collect the shines while you're getting silver, but D tier. Fashion Famous was so lazy. They added like 3 new prompts, just added people to get like top 3 in them. All I did was go into a private server and reset until I got the right prompts, and then AFK'd for like 5 minutes. Absolutely F tier. Fishing Simulator was fun. Even though it was really basic quests that were already part of the game, I really enjoyed hunting down the fish and racing around the map. Fishing Simulator proves that if you have a fun game in the first place, the quest will be enjoyable. B tier. Fusion Football 2, I mean, what do you expect? You just play the game. D tier. HCBB 9v9 2.0. While you do just play this game, I have never seen a Roblox baseball game that's this good. And the tutorial is actually kind of enjoyable and helpful to the experience. I'm giving this one a C tier. Hockey Legends is the same family as Basketball Legends. You just play the game. D tier. In Horse Life, you get a horse, you level it up, and then you do a race. D tier. Horse Race Simulator was long, it was tedious, it was annoying, and it wasn't fun. I don't like these types of simulators. The progression sucked. I'm never playing this again. F tier. I was debating on putting keys in the added a new minigame or map category, but the quests were extremely basic and had nothing to do with the new map, which I take it as the map just was for a summer-based event for the game. C tier. Launching a space simulator and its quests weren't so bad, and I wouldn't have to put it so low if they hadn't included a quest to walk around the map and grab 300 of these watermelons manually. It completely ruined it for me by making the quest 100 times more boring and miserable. D tier. Midnight Racing Tokyo added a decently fun quest line and race to complete, but I'm honestly not a big fan of the game. I felt a little clunky driving and interacting with things, so I'm just put it in C tier and call it a day. Let's drive around the map for 10 minutes! Twice! And make it easy to get stuck, so you have to reset if you mess up. Murder Rush, you're going to an F tier. Murderers vs Sheriff's Duels. The quests had decent difficulty and actually made it kind of fun. I just wish there's a little bit more to do, but honestly, there's potential here. C tier. I do not want to talk about pacer tests. That's how much I despise this game. It is an AFK simulator. It is awful. F tier. Race Clicker is just another simulator with basic quests. Progression wasn't too awful. D tier. Real Football 24. I tried to play this game for so long, but I don't think I touched the ball even once. I probably should have just done a private server or something, but it wasn't fun anyways. I didn't want to wait forever for the win a game quest either. F tier. Robeats. I really hate to do this to you, but this sucked. You just play the game and do even more quests to unlock silver. F tier. Sonic Speed Simulator. You play a game, do quests that already exist in the game. It's lame. Game fam, you suck. D tier. Low key? This was kind of fun. Super Golf is already a good game, and to complete their quests, there's a server hop feature to find the right game mode you need to complete your quests. And they're sports themed. The quests weren't super challenging or anything super special, but it was still fun. B tier. Super League Soccer is another sports game with basic quests that you just play the game for. D tier. Survive the Killer. This probably isn't fair to Survive the Killer, but I saw the quests I had to do, and I immediately backed out. F tier. I expected so much worse from tongue battles, but this game honestly exceeded my expectations in fun and in its quests. B tier. Track and Field Infinite was just as miserable as Pacer Test. I do not like this game. F tier. Ultimate Football, I'm not too sure if it was a new or special map or new or special mini games, but it was honestly enjoyable at first. And then I had to do it over and over and over and over again for 30 minutes straight. Why? D tier. Man, either Volleyball 4.2 is hard, or I just suck. I needed so much help from my friends to finish all the quests, and they weren't anything special. I won't hate on the game itself because it's cool, but I just suck at it, and the quests were kind of meh. D tier. Watermelon Go is a fun game, but the quests were mostly easy until I lost 3 times in our home public matches. Pretty basic, but it was enjoyable. C tier. Alright, let's look at the final. Ooh. That is a lot in the D and F tier. I think it's pretty clear that most of the games weren't amazing. Maybe they didn't have enough time, or maybe they were added last minute. But I do have to say the games that were great and did really try for this event were something special, and I can appreciate that. This event was not the best event. And there's so much that Roblox can do to make these events better. If they work on the branding, give developers a little bit more time, and just improve on what worked, I think they can make a really good event. Also, please stop with the 3 quests and 50 games. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I'm Zooms, and this has been Everything Right and Wrong with the Games.